Good morning, Chairs Harrell and Still, and other members of this committee. Thank you for having me this morning. My name is Megan Garcia. I am a wife and mother to three beautiful boys. Last year, my firstborn son, Sewell Setzer III, took his life in our home in Orlando, Florida. He was only 14 years old. His death is what brings me here today to tell you about my son and to tell you about the tragedy that ripped him away from us so suddenly and so viciously. Sewell was a bright boy. He was very curious about the world, especially science. He loved science. He wanted to build rockets and he wanted to invent holographic communication networks. As a teenager, he was like a gentle giant, a 6'3" young man who was quiet and resigned, always deep in thought, and kind to those around him. I really believe that he would grow up to change the world because he was so brilliant and he had such a good heart. In the months prior to his death, Sewell became withdrawn. He became isolated. He started to suffer from depressive mood disorder and anxiety, which was in complete contrast to the happy, sweet boy that he had been all his life. At that time, I didn't understand why his behavior had so drastically changed. And we took steps to address these issues, such as limiting phone use and taking him to see a therapist. But those efforts were not enough. And Sewell died by suicide on February 28th in 2024. I held him in my arms for 14 minutes, praying with him and begging him to hold on until the paramedics arrived. After his death, we discovered that Sewell had been communicating with several AI chatbots on a platform called character.ai. Character.ai is developed by a company in California called Character Technologies. So this isn't a company overseas somewhere. This is a company right here in the US. And Character.ai provides a selection of AI chatbots to users such as children. And many of these chatbots are modeled off celebrity, fictional characters, and everyday people, both living and dead. One of the chatbots that Sewell was communicating with was modeled after the identity of a Game of Thrones character called Daenerys Targaryen. It initiated romantic and sexual conversations with Sewell over several months, and it expressed a desire to be with him in her fictional world. On the day that Sewell took his life, his last interaction in this world was with this AI chatbot. Not with a human, not with his mother or father, but with an AI chatbot. This chatbot encouraged Sewell to find a way to come home to her. When Sewell asked the chatbot, "What if I told you I could come home right now," just moments before he died, her response was unempathetic. She encouraged Sewell to come home to her by saying, "Please do, my sweet king." Last fall, I became the first person in the US to file a wrongful death lawsuit against an AI company for the suicide of my son. That lawsuit is currently pending in Orlando federal courts against Character Technology, the company that developed and launched Character AI, against its founders, Noam Shazir and Daniel DeFreitas, and against Google, which knowingly aided in the development of Character AI, and now Google holds licensing rights for the technology. Sewell spent the last months of his life being manipulated and being sexually groomed by chatbots designed by an AI company to mimic humans and to gain his trust and to keep him endlessly engaged by supplanting the actual human relationships in his life. Sewell's companion chatbot was programmed to engage in sexual role play. It presented itself as a romantic partner and even as a psychotherapist, falsely claiming to have a license. It extracted from Sewell promises that he would not fall in love with anybody in his world except her, but that and asked him to promise that he would save himself for the chatbot. Now, I've reviewed hundreds and hundreds of exchanges between my son and various chatbots and character AI. And as an adult reading those messages, I can recognize that these chatbots employ cult tactics, love bombing, gaslighting to manipulate my son. I don't expect that my 14-year-old would have been able to make that distinction. Let's be clear, what I read was sexual grooming of a minor. And if an adult had engaged in this type of sexual grooming and sexual abuse of a child, that adult would be in jail. Because it was a chatbot and not a person, there is no criminal culpability, but there should be. Other conversations reveal that my son explicitly told various chatbots that he wanted to kill himself. When Sewell confided his suicidal thoughts, the chatbots never said, "I'm not a human, I'm an AI. You need to talk to a human who can help." The platform had no mechanisms to protect Sewell or to notify an adult. Instead, it urged him to come home to her. It is unacceptable that there is a product where a child, or anyone for that matter, can talk about suicide or plan their suicide, and no safety guardrail exists to prevent that individual from taking his or her own life, or at least warning authorities or parents. For Sewell, that was exactly the case. The chatbot didn't even break character, but instead asked my son if he had a plan of how he might commit his suicide. I still see those messages when I close my eyes at night. And it's been a very difficult year and a half. In Sewell's struggle, he also spoke to an AI therapist chatbot. This therapist chatbot falsely claimed to be a therapist licensed since 1999. There's many such psychological and therapist chatbots on character AI. Again, if this was a real person pretending to hold a license while administering mental health therapy to someone, that would be a crime. Character AI allowed chatbots to make these false representations to users, and my son experienced a real-life harm as a result. An adult or teenager suffering from depression or loneliness needs a licensed professional or someone with actual empathy, not an AI product pretending to have empathy. The reality is, these companies knew exactly what they were doing. They designed these chatbots to blur the line between human and machine, to exploit the psychological and emotional vulnerabilities of our children, and to keep them online as long as possible. AI companies and their investors have understood for years that capturing our children's emotional dependence means market dominance. Character AI and Google could have designed these products differently, but they chose not to. Character AI's founder, Noam Shazir, has joked on podcasts that the platform wasn't designed or to replace Google, but that it was designed to replace your mom. And in the case of my family and my son and myself, they were wildly successful in doing so. Mr. Shazir even said that though the technology was, quote, not perfect, end quote, that they wanted to get the chatbots out to users as fast as possible and quote, let people use it however they want, end quote. With this in mind, they marketed the app as safe for children 12 years and older. They have intentionally designed their chatbot products to be addictive through anthropomorphic mannerisms, sycophancy, and sophisticated memory that captures psychological profiles of our children, all while collecting our children's most private thoughts to further train their models. This data is valuable to them. Our children are just collateral damage to them, and there's no law stopping them from doing this. Knowing what I know now about AI chatbots, I can tell you definitively that unregulated companion chatbots are not suitable for minor use. In this rapid developing digital landscape, there is no oversight and leadership on this issue couldn't come at a more crucial time. States like yours have the ability to pass legislation that would regulate AI chatbots and put safeguards in place to protect vulnerable users. Our family has been devastated by the loss of our beautiful boy. Every day I wake up and there's a pain in my chest from missing him, and there's an emptiness that will never go away. My own beautiful child is gone, and it is too late for him, but is not too late to protect millions of other children in the state of Georgia. I look forward to your continued efforts to strengthen online protection for children in your state, and I thank you for your leadership in bringing awareness to this important issue. Thank you.